I'm a big fan of feet. They play a big role in a finished piece looking professional, and today I'm going to go over my process of trimming a bowl and creating a clean, raised foot. While the piece is still on the bat, we can kind of clean up some of the bullshit that might have accumulated while it dried out. Sometimes a piece will dry with some unevenness on the surface, on the inside and outside. So we can just start with a rubber rib. I do use a rubber rib while the piece is still wet right after I threw it, but just using one again right now while it's dried, we can really clean up that surface because this will be the last time we touch it before the piece gets fired. If there's any serious unevenness on the inside of the bowl at this point that you have to trim away with a loop tool or something, it's a bit fucking doomed to try to get it nice and smooth. The loop tool, although will do a great job at smoothing out the surface on the outside, just because of the curve on the inside and the shape of the loop tool, it would just take too much effort compared to the minimal amount of effort it takes to just run a rubber rib along the piece when it's still wet right after firing to get the same results. So I just use a needle tool here to make a nice little slot at the bottom where I can slip the wire tool through to remove the piece from the bat. If you don't do this step, you can take off a bit too much of the foot when you pull the wire tool, or it's just uneven. You just want to make sure the wire is nice and taut, and you just turn the wheel nice and slow, lift her off, boom, nice and clean. There's our dirty foot. We're gonna have to spruce that up here. So for our second bowl here, if I can ever fucking figure out how to put the bat on the wheel, then we can get started on the same cleanup process that we started the other bowl with. We're gonna hit him with a rib to start, just to smoothen up the inside surface, and just do a little bit of touch up on the rim. A dry sponge is a great way to get these little scraps out without causing any damage to the inside of the bowl. And then we're just gonna do our same technique here where we take a needle tool to the bottom, nice and taut, wire tool, wheel nice and slow, boom, good separation, and we're gonna get a clean lift off here of our bowl. Now to begin the part that everybody's here for, the close-up action of the foot. Since this one's pretty messy, it's gonna take some pressure here to clean them up. So we're gonna need to make sure that the bowl is nice and secured here on the bat. If I learned anything from geometry in school, it's that 3 points together it makes a pretty strong form. So we're just gonna do 3 little pieces of clay here. Make sure our bowl is nice and secure, and then we can really lean into the foot to pull off some clay here to shape it out. So I go back and forth here several times between having my loop tool facing upwards, pressured against the foot, and kind of angled downwards going with the curve of the bowl on the rounded part. This is to kind of give the foot some shape. If I need more height on it, then we'll cut into the bowl shape. And if I want to pull it in and make the foot thinner, that's when I put my loop tool facing upwards so that I'm pressuring kind of against the side of the foot. So the form is really coming along here. You're going to see that the foot has really started to hollow out and we're getting the final shape that I wanted. So we're really just doing touch up at this point, rounding off our edges and just doing a little bit of touch up on the surface of the bowl as well. The final bit of touch up, I actually use my fingers here. I'm pressuring the inside and the outside edge of the base of the foot. This really just helps smoothen it up. And then with a needle tool, I'm just gonna write my little signature on the bottom and this bowl is finished. I think this guy turned out really nicely. The inner surface is fantastic. A little bit of bullshit there in the foot, ignore that. But yeah, really clean there, and we're gonna get started on bowl number 2. So we're gonna start out the exact same way. We're gonna use 3 pieces of clay here, get our bowl nice and secure, and then we're gonna do the same technique where I'm going between trimming the foot itself and the rounded part of the bowl. Again, we wanna have a nice separation there at the bottom. I like having a nice crisp line, and you can tell where the foot and the bowl are 2 separate parts. always love this final trimming phase where you get to go over the surface one last time. It's just very satisfying to see everything come together. And then we're just going to do the same thing with our fingers here, smooth out the base of the foot. This is a thing that I didn't always do, but I find that when the piece comes out of the glaze firing and the piece is 100% finished, you're going to be really glad that you smoothened up those corners. So we're just going to sign off, and bull number 2 is done. I really like how this bull turned out too. I like the shape of the sides, the shape of the foot. I think the piece goes together with itself very nicely. The bottom of the foot got really thin, so I couldn't perfectly clean up that part. And then I did bump the bull on the shelf as I was putting it away. It seemed to be breaking something every week, but we're going to fire this anyways. Hopefully the glaze can kind of even that part out. That's it for today. See ya.